Imagine this here. They fighting for their independence, but they enslaving me and you. You know, they come with a constitution. Now they done changed me and your name to Negro, Black, and Color in 1774. They come up with this constitution. This constitution is after enslavement. So when they wrote the constitution, it wasn't for the slave. When they say we the people, they're not talking about me. Why? Because I'm not considered a person over here in this country. If I consider myself, or if I'm an ex-slave, or if I consider myself a Negro, Black, and Color, then when they say we the people, they're not speaking about Russell here. They are speaking about who? The European nations. And all those other people over here, they did the same thing with the natives. They call the natives Indians. You know, ain't no Indians over here. You know, these people are from land of Canaan, the same place that me and you from. Being a Negro, Black, and Color is unconstitutional because being a Negro, Black, and Color is not written into the Constitution. So, you know, when they created the Negro, Blacks, and Color, they created a standard for the Negro, Blacks, and Colors. And the standard they created for the Negro, Blacks, and Colors does not fit into the standard of the Constitution of the United States. Because when they say we the people, they talking about humans. They didn't consider me and you humans. And so that's when the prophet comes into play. Noble Drew Ali comes into play with nationality. And with your nationality, it automatically raise up your standards. That's if you living according to the prophet Noble Drew Ali. You have to be living according to the methods that he brought to this country in order for this constitution to apply to you. And this constitution will apply to you, but it's just not where I'm saying that I'm a Moorish American and I'm not living according to the standards, because I'm telling you, brothers, being a Moorish American is the highest standard. There's no higher standard than being a Moorish American. Why? Because now you're upright, independent, and fearless. You know, you a whole different set of people. And now you're living by some principles. And we're not talking about the principles that they put in place for us. We're talking about now we're living according to some principles. I mean, I'm upright, independent, and fearless. You know, I'm a creation of the Creator, Allah Himself. Allah Himself ordained our prophet to come over here and teach nationality. And he came over here and bought me and you everything that it takes to save a nation. Everything that it takes to save a nation. But me and you so far gone, I'm talking about it's 2000. We can go back to, me and you been gone since the 1700s. So me and you 200 and some years behind. Me and you so far gone to, we don't know nothing else. So Allah sent a prophet. He said, Noble Drew Ali, man, look here, go over there and teach him. Noble Drew Ali out here makes a statement, said that, and he said that, man, if we're not careful, Russell Hill, if you're not careful, in 100 years, you ain't gonna even know I've been here. You know, and so if Allah sent a prophet to the Negro, Blacks, and Colors, the Negro, Blacks, and Colors, they got another master. You know, it's what the prophet tells us in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America. He said, we are returning the church and Christianity. We have to return these things because these things is not of our forefathers. When the prophet is saying we all bear one free national name, he's saying that we are all the same. Not mean that we all from the same ethnicity or the same background, but what he's saying is that, you know, as a citizen of the United States, that all citizens bear one free national name. And he's explaining that to us as a Moorish American. He's explaining that to us so that we truly understand what nationality is. Our people is missing nationality completely. You know, if you calling yourself a Negro, Black, or a colored, African American, Afro-American, you completely missing nationality, because none of those names are nationality. All those names delude to slavery. You know, in 1774, you know, they put them marks upon the Moors of Northwest in 1774. So those names was never intended to be a nationality. Those names were marks. It was something to identify particular people that they call themselves releasing out of slavery. That's what those names was for. Now the nationality, it's something simple. It's a human identifier. It identifies your origin, where did you come from, and who it ties you into. You know, Noble Drew Ali, we get honest with Noble Drew Ali because Noble Drew Ali made this plain. You know, he's telling that you're a Moorish American, you're a descendant of the ancient Moabites, you know, you're descendant of the Moroccans, what Noble is. Instead of him just tying us into Africa, he's tying us into the very beginning of mankind, you know, because we are the founders of the first religious creed. We are the founders of a lot of things. Now, us being the founders of a lot of things do not mean that, you know, that everybody else hasn't participated in, you know, uplifting or doing those things necessary. But when they took the nationality away from you and I and start identifying me and you as something else, and you and I start identifying ourselves as what they portrayed us to be, then that's when the nationality was non-void for the Moors over here in Northwest. I mean, I was born in the 60s, somebody was born in the 70s, somebody was born in the 80s and the 90s, and that's the term that you used to. And so since you're used to that term and you've been living that term, and not in reality, but you've always been black, according to what they did. But what Noble did, he's tracing it back, showing us that black started for people in this country. Black didn't start in Khemet. What Noble did was he made me and you fit in to the human race like everybody else. Every other nation of people that fits into it. We talking about the Chinese, the Japanese from Japan. We talking about the Italians from Italy, black. Where does black come from? When one of the things that they're doing is they plan on you and I. One, I'm gonna take that back. They plan on them. You know, they're not playing on me, because I understand that with a nationality, it affords me all of the rights. As a black man, and you see it in America, it don't afford me no rights. And if you go back to 1774, if you go back before 1774, if you go back to the 1500s over here in this country, they had already started working it. They didn't put it in effect in 1774. Don't think for a minute that they didn't play it up for a whole lot of years, and then they put it into effect. Now we're gonna put it into effect, but in the beginning, we working it. We're gonna have to make them forget who they are. We're gonna cut them off, and it may take 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, but in the meantime, they're gonna start calling themselves what we say they are. I mean, you know, they got a whole lot of law and a whole lot of lawful decision that these people have made that's simple to me. And it should be simple to the average so-called black man. But when you so used to, I mean, Moors, you can start calling a bulldog a chihuahua. And if you call him that long enough, he'll start answering up to it, and he'll start doing the things that a chihuahua was supposed to do, and he'll quit being a bulldog. You know, if you take a wild animal out of a jungle, I mean, he's gonna be wild for so long. When he realized that being wild ain't what it needs to be anymore, he's gonna be whatever he needs to be to survive. And that's what me and you've been doing in this country. We've been over here, I don't even wanna say surviving. We've been over here just going through the motions. Noble come over here in 1913 and saying that the motions ain't good enough for a people that comes from a great universal creator. Allah is God, and Allah didn't create black people. You know, Allah didn't create Negroes. He didn't create colored people. You know, these people don't exist. And if you and I as a people can't see that, then that tells me that me and you, we walking around here with blinders on. I mean, I sit here and I talk to Japanese people, and I go back into their culture, and they go all the way back to Japan. I talk to Chinese people, they do the same thing. I talk to Italians and Sicilians and Russians and Germans. And when I talk to a black person, all he identifies with, I'm from Africa. Africa is a continent. You know, where are we from? You know, we from here. And we became black people because the European nations got together and made a decision that the Moors, we're never gonna let the Moors take another stronghold like they did. We're gonna destroy them. And not only did they destroy the so-called Negro blacks in this country, go look at Africa. Negro blacks and colors don't live by no principles. I mean, what principles do Negro blacks and colors? Negro blacks, colors, it is what it is. Those are the Negro blacks and colored principles, because Negro blacks and colors, they just go along to get along. You know, Negro, blacks, and colors don't want no problem when Negro, blacks, and colors don't understand that they are the problem. You know, and that ain't to put down my brothers and sisters. It's just that when you call yourself Negro, black, and colors, you telling the world that you are the problem. You are the problem that exists over here, because there's no other nation of people over here that consider themselves. I mean, you can joke and call the Asians or those out of Asia, you know, you call them yellow, but they don't answer up to that. You know, you can call the Mexicans brown, but they don't answer up to that. You know, you can call the black man black and he answers. And so, I mean, it should be simple. It is simple to me, and it's probably simple to me because I've been following the Prophet Noble Drew Ali for quite a while, and I continue to get honors to Noble Drew Ali. I get honors to Emmanuel Braswell Bey, the Supreme Grand Sheik of the Moorish to America, because if it don't be for him, then I'm not sitting here. You know, so we get honors where honors is due because of Emmanuel Braswell Bey. Now I have a voice that's connected directly to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And so the Negro, blacks, and colored brother, they ain't, I mean, principles. I mean, they principles delude to slavery. And those are not the principle that, you know, those are not good principles for our people. Not at all. You may not believe it, but being a Negro is a problem in this country. And it's not a problem because you're a Negro. It's a problem because it's something that was created. And the prophet says that, you know, that other nations are helping me. It's your problem. Why not you? You know, and to me, that's prolific. The Noble Drew Ali is saying, Russell Hill, the problem that exists is your problem. Why are you not participating in solving your problem? And the participation in solving your problem, Russell Hill, all you do is stand up and say, I'm not Negro, black, and color. I'm a Moorish American. I'm a descendant of the ancient Moabites. You know, I come out of the land of Canaan. My forefathers was this, that, and the other. And then you start living up to that. The problem is my problem. But I done solved my problem by saying that, you know, I'm a Moorish American. And not by just saying that I'm a Moorish American. I'm living according to what a Moorish American is supposed to live according to. Those high standards that the prophet about. He say love, true peace, freedom, and justice. You know, you have to live according to love, true peace, freedom, and justice. In the Holy Quran of the Moorish Temple of America, the prophet says, and this is Jesus saying that the problem of the age has been solved. And what the prophet is teaching me, Russell Hill, is that if you in the Moorish Temple of America, then the problem has been solved, but the problem still exists. You know, because me and you both know what 2 + 2 is, and if we solve the problem, it's 4. But 2 + 2 still exists. And so it's always, the problem always exists. Me and you we just gotta catch up. And until me and you catch up, we're gonna always be behind. Until we unify, we're gonna always be behind. The Moorish Temple of America is the only organization that gives our people nationality. I don't care what anybody says. We got these, you know, I hear them saying one of the so-called black leaders. You know, I don't have no so-called black leaders. You know, when your leaders are saying, or your leaders, what leaders? You know, our leaders are stand in mansions while we stand in huts. You know, so the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, he's plain in his teachings, you know, and it's not rocket science. It's more science. 1774 is when they took the nationality away from the Moors, so it absolutely does not include you. Negro, blacks, and colors are not included, and they didn't intend for Negro, blacks, and colors to be included in anything. When it comes to politics, when it comes to finances, we was written out. In other words, they were saying that these people are no longer human. You know, these people are beasts, animals. You know, they're not who. Oh, they walking around on 2 legs and they speaking a language, but they're not who you think they are. And the reason why they're able to get away with those things is because it's the law. You know, and we honor the law. You know, the prophet said we're a part and a portion of this said government, and I have to live the life accordingly. And so, but he's talking to a Moorish American now. When I'm reading the law, I'm a Moorish American. as a Negro, black, and color who do not understand how law works. Even the attorneys, they don't understand how law works, because we got black attorneys, we got black bankers, we got Negro everything. But you don't understand what the prophet is telling us. He's saying through this free national government, because you can be free, but you have to have a nationality to be free. You don't see these people murdering other people in the streets the way they murder Negro, blacks, and colors in the streets. Why? Because the Constitution don't apply to Negro, blacks, and colors. We get all in the uproar. We just outrageously upset about something that we don't understand why. How can this happen to a people that's been here for this long? How is it possible for other people to come over here and excel when you got people that's been here? Because there's no protection for you. I mean, you got some state protection here and there. You got some city protection here and there. And you got some federal protection here and there. But certain rights have to be violated. You have to violate my civil rights. You don't see people winning constitutional cases. Why? Because Negro, blacks, and colors have no constitutional rights. And so there's no constitutional case for you to win. You got to remember that we was in slavery when they wrote the Constitution. Yeah. We was absolutely slaves when they were slaves. Russell ain't no slave. I ain't never been in slavery. I don't really know what slavery feel like. I found out what slavery felt like when they killed that brother George Floyd. Then it's like I was standing there when they hung the brother from the tree. So I'm like, I felt it then, but I felt it from a perspective of, man, the police are murdering somebody on camera. But then when you think about it, your first policemen over here in this country was who? They were slave catchers. So, we got an institution of slave catchers, and then every once in a while they put a brother, a black man in the uniform, and, he's like a turnkey, he helps them catch the slaves, because he's a turnkey. But, man, we can go on and on and on about the problem, but the prophet has a solution to all of that. Yeah. The prophet Noble Drew Ali has a solution to all of that. All you have to do is stand up, and join this Moorish National Divine Movement. And if you don't join the Moorish National Divine Movement, tell yourself something ain't right and start looking off into it. I mean, I wasn't always a Moorish American. I was one of the biggest black men on the planet until I met the prophet. When I met the prophet, he changed my whole thinking process. He made me start looking at life from the way that life is, not from the way that somebody painted a picture for me. I started looking at life for myself. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, man, he teaches us so many different things about so many different things. Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he's the only brother, he's the only person on this planet. He's the only person on this planet that took me and you home. Everybody else took me and you halfway home. They took us to Africa, and we think we Africans. Noble Drew Ali is the only person on this planet that took us home. And so therefore, if you go all the way home, you can come all the way back. See, if you go halfway home, you can only come halfway back. You got to get honest to Noble Drew Ali, because Noble Drew Ali, I mean, he the man. I don't care what anybody say. Noble Drew Ali is the only person that cared about me and you to a point where he didn't come over here for himself. You didn't see Noble Drew Ali living in no big old lavish house. Why? Because he didn't come over here for that. You didn't see Noble Drew Ali driving, owning 4 or 5 Cadillacs. He didn't come over here for that. He come over here for the sole purpose of lifting for all humanity. That's me and you, and everybody included. Noble Drew Ali didn't just come over here for Negro, blacks, and colors. He come over here for humanity. He come over here for me and you to wake up so that me and you can continue his work and uplift for all of humanity. So you show me a black man or a Negro or a colored man that's not out for himself. Noble Drew Ali has never been out for Noble Drew Ali. There's no shrines to Noble Drew Ali. There's no big old buildings to Noble Drew Ali. The place where the first temple was at, it's a lot now. We ain't building anything to Noble Drew Ali because Noble Drew Ali didn't talk about himself. If you show me a black man in America that don't talk about them, don't make it about them, you don't have a one. You can't show me one. You can't show me a pastor or a preacher or a minister or imam that it ain't about them. It's all about them. Noble Drew Ali makes sure that we fully understand that me and you got a purpose as Moorish American, and me and your purpose is to uplift fallen humanity and nothing else. And if you're not uplifting fallen humanity, you're not following the instructions of Noble Drew Ali. And if you ain't following the instructions of Noble Drew Ali, you're probably still a black man.